All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into the life and career of Gregg Wallace.
Oh, interesting.
You know, the Master Chef guy.
Yeah, yeah, the pudding lover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you see him on TV and he seems like such a happy-go-lucky kind of guy.
Right.
But we're using his Wikipedia entry today as our main source, and we're going to go a little deeper. And
Ooh,
I think
okay.
I think we're going to find that there's a lot more to his story than meets the eye.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So to start, he was actually born and raised in Peckham, South London.
Okay.
So not exactly a life of privilege, right?
No, not at all. And actually, he's been very open about facing some pretty tough times growing up, Like
Yeah.
he was even a victim of sexual abuse when he was young, which is
Wow.
yeah, it's a really it's a reminder that everyone has their own struggles.
Absolutely. And he actually left school at 15,
Oh, wow.
which, not uncommon, but it does make you wonder what drives someone like that.
Right.
And I think his early career kind of shows us that, he was ambitious even then.
Okay, so what did he do?
Well, he started out as a warehouseman at Covent Garden Fruit and Veg Market.
Okay, so already in the world of produce.
Exactly. And it's funny how that kind of came full circle later on, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, he didn't stay a warehouseman for long.
He seems like a go-getter.
Oh, yeah. Very quickly, he became a salesman. And then, get this, he started his own produce business.
Really?
Yeah, it was called George Allen's Greengrocers.
Okay.
And it wasn't just some small operation.
What do you mean?
They had a turnover of 7.5 million pounds.
Wow, so he's a natural businessman.
It seems so. I mean, to build a business like that from scratch, you got to have some serious skills.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does someone go from selling fruit and veg to being on the telly?
That's a great question. Well, it seems like it all started with a radio show.
Really? What kind of radio
It
show?
was called Veg Talk on BBC Radio 4.
Veg Talk. Seriously?
Seriously, I guess he's always been passionate about produce.
I guess so. But a whole show about vegetables, that's,
Niche.
yeah, we'll go with niche.
But hey, we're doing a deep dive on Gregg Wallace, so who are we to judge?
That's true, that's true. I guess everyone starts somewhere.
Exactly. And that radio show actually seems to have been his springboard to television.
Oh, how so?
Well, he started hosting Saturday Kitchen, which is a pretty big deal in the food world.
Yeah, for sure. So he really made a name for himself there.
He did, and he didn't stop there. He went on to present other shows like Veg Out and Follow That Tomato.
Follow That Tomato. What was that about?
Well, I guess he followed a tomato. I'm not really sure.
You'd think the title would be self-explanatory, but
But, whatever it was about, it was a hit. He even won a Royal Television Society Award for Best Lifestyle Program in 2003.
wow, that's impressive.
It is, and it shows that he wasn't just a one-trick pony.
What do you mean?
I mean, he wasn't just talking about vegetables. He was presenting all sorts of things.
Oh.
Like in 2008 and 2009, when the whole finance crisis was happening, he presented episodes of the Money Program.
Really?
Yeah, and he was talking about how the crisis was impacting, what people could afford to eat.
Interesting. So he wasn't afraid to tackle serious topics?
It seems not. And it shows that he could connect with audiences on different levels.
Yeah, that makes sense. He had to be relatable to appeal to such a wide audience.
Exactly. And I think that's a big part of his appeal. He's just a natural in front of the camera.
Yeah, he seems very comfortable and engaging.
Yeah. And he can make even, boring topics interesting.
Well, he does love to talk about food.
That he does. But, of course, the role that really made him a star was MasterChef.
Oh, yeah, MasterChef. That's his big one.
It is, and it's been running since 2005, and he's been a judge alongside John Turode pretty much the whole time.
That's a long time.
It is, and it's made him a household name, not just in the UK, but internationally.
I can see why it's a hugely popular show.
But speaking of MasterChef, we can't ignore the elephant in the room.
Oh, what's that?
Well, remember the whole rendang controversy back in 2018?
Oh, right, when he criticized that contestant's chicken rendang for not being crispy.
Yeah, that's the one. It caused a huge uproar, especially across Southeast Asia.
Yeah, I remember that. People were really offended.
And rightfully so, I think.
Yeah, I mean, rendang is like a national dish in many countries.
Exactly. It's not just food. It's part of their culture, their heritage.
And for him to say it wasn't cooked properly because it wasn't crispy, it just showed a real lack of understanding.
It did, and it kind of highlighted how even seemingly harmless comments can have big consequences, especially when you're dealing with cultural sensitivities.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that we need to be more aware of those things.
Absolutely. So, we've seen how successful he's been on MasterChef,
Right.
but he's actually done a lot of other things too.
Oh, like what?
Well, he presented a show called Eat Well for Less.
Okay, what's that about?
It was all about helping families, um, eat healthy on a budget.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a big popular show, actually.
Makes sense. People are always looking for ways to save money and eat better.
Exactly. And then he also did a show called Inside the Factory.
Inside the factory, what's that?
It was basically about how everyday things are made.
Oh, like a behind-the-scenes look at factories and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. It sounds kind of boring,
He does.
but it was actually pretty fascinating.
Really? I might have to check that out.
You should. It's pretty cool. And he even hosted a revival of that old game show, Time Commanders.
Time Commanders. Didn't that have something to do with history?
Yeah, it was all about historical battles and strategy.
Wow. So he's got a pretty diverse range of interests.
It seems so, doesn't it? And, on top of all that, he's got a personal life, too.
Oh, right, of course.
And it's actually been a bit more, a bit rockier than his career.
Oh,
He's been married 4 times.
4 times.
4 times, yeah. And his current wife, Anne-Marie Strapini, is quite a bit younger than him.
Okay.
They have a son together who was born in 2019.
So he's a dad again later in life.
He is, and he's actually talked about how much he loves being a dad.
That's nice.
It is. But unfortunately, his son was diagnosed with autism.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's tough, but he's been very open about it.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's used his platform to raise awareness about autism and to advocate for families who are going through similar challenges.
That's really admirable.
It is, and, it shows a different side to him.
A more serious side, I guess.
Yeah, and it's actually quite touching to see how much he cares.
It is. And speaking of things that are touching, did you know he was awarded an MBE?
An MBE. That's a pretty big deal.
It is. It stands for Member of the Order of the British Empire.
Wow, so he got that from the Queen.
Yeah, it's giving for outstanding achievements or service to the community.
That's incredible.
It is, and he got it for his contributions to food and charity.
So he's not just a TV personality. He's actually making a difference.
It seems so. But, as with most things in life, there is another side to this story.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, unfortunately, there are some allegations that have come to light recently.
Oh, right, the ones that led to him leaving MasterChef.
Yeah, those ones. It's a pretty serious situation.
What exactly are the allegations?
Well, they involve some inappropriate sexual comments he allegedly made.
Oh, wow, that's not good.
It's not, and it's led to him stepping away from MasterChef while they investigate.
I see. And how serious is this investigation? I mean, is there any truth to these allegations?
Well, from what I understand, 13 individuals have come forward with claims.
13. That's a lot.
It is, and it seems like the BBC is taking it very seriously.
Yeah, I guess when you have that many people coming forward, it's hard to ignore.
It is. And it really makes you think about, public image versus reality.
It does. I mean, we think we know these celebrities, but there's always more to the story.
Absolutely. And it's a good reminder that we shouldn't just blindly accept everything we see on TV.
Right. So I guess this is just the tip of the iceberg.
It is. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to really unpack these allegations and explore the impact they've had on his career.
Sounds like we've got a lot to discuss.
We do. And it's going to be fascinating to see how this all unfolds.
So we're back, and we're continuing our deep dive into the life and career of Gregg Wallace.
Yeah, where we left off, things were getting a little complicated.
Yeah, a bit of a turn from all the pudding-loving fun, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's important to look at the whole picture, right?
Right? The good, the bad, and everything in between.
And, as we dig deeper into his story, I think it really highlights our fascination with food and celebrity these days.
Yeah, I see that. Food isn't just fuel anymore.
No, it's like entertainment.
Right, like almost a cultural obsession.
It shows like MasterChef.
Yeah.
They really turned cooking into like a spectator sport.
And chefs are like rock stars now.
Exactly. And Gregg Wallace, he's like
He's like the everyman foodie.
yeah, he's not some fancy chef with a Michelin star.
Right. He's just, a guy who loves to eat.
And people love that about him.
Yeah, he's relatable. He's not afraid to say he likes a good pudding.
Or 3.
Or 10.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him so appealing,
Yeah, that authenticity.
But that same authenticity can sometimes backfire.
Oh, yeah, like with the rendang thing.
Exactly.
One little comment.
And boom, international incident.
It just goes to show, words matter, especially when you're in the public eye.
For sure, and especially in today's world where everything gets amplified online.
Yeah, one wrong word and you're toast.
Canceled, yeah.
So it's a cautionary tale, I think, for anyone with a platform.
Yeah, to think before you speak, to be mindful of different cultures.
And now, with these allegations against Wallace,
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
it's not just about a poorly worded comment. It's about,
About a potential abuse of power. And, it brings up some really uncomfortable
like,
questions.
how do we separate the person from their work?
Right. Can we still enjoy his shows knowing what we now know?
And is it even possible to, um, to reconcile admiration with accountability?
Tough questions.
And it's not just about Gregg Wallace.
No, this is something we see all the time, right? Allegations against people we admire.
It's a complex issue, and it demands a nuanced conversation.
Yeah, we need to consider the evidence.
The impact on those involved.
And also the broader context of power dynamics, especially in industries like entertainment.
Absolutely.
It's a conversation that can be really difficult.
But necessary.
Because it's about creating a culture of accountability and respect.
And I think a big part of that is moving beyond blind admiration.
Right, recognizing that even our idols are human.
They make mistakes.
Right, they have flaws.
And sometimes they do terrible things.
Yeah, and it's about holding people accountable for their actions no matter who they are.
Fame and success shouldn't be a shield.
And it's crucial to listen to and believe those who come forward with allegations.
While also, remembering the importance of due process.
It's a delicate balance.
It really is.
And I think it's important to remember that these conversations, they're not about canceling anyone.
No, it's not about that.
It's about creating a safer and more equitable society for everyone.
And it's about demanding better.
From ourselves, from the people we admire.
You said it. I think what you just said, that really sums it up perfectly.
It's about recognizing that we all have a part to play in shaping a culture of accountability.
Absolutely. And that goes beyond Gregg Wallace and MasterChef.
Yeah, this is bigger than one person or one show.
This is about how we interact with each other, how we hold each other accountable.
In all aspects of our lives.
So as we wrap up this part of the deep dive,
Okay.
I want to leave you with a question, something to think about.
Okay, I'm listening.
What role can you play in promoting accountability and respect?
That's a good one.
It's a question worth pondering, because it all starts with us. All right, so here we are, the final part of our Gregg Wallace deep dive.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, hasn't it? From selling fruit to facing some serious allegations.
Yeah, from the highs of MasterChef to, well, all of this.
It's been a real roller coaster.
And I think his story, it says a lot about fame these days.
Yeah.
And how quickly things can change.
Oh, absolutely. Like public opinion, it's so fickle now.
Yeah. Back in the day, a celebrity could have a scandal and kind of bounce back.
Right, lay low for a while, issue an apology.
But now with social media, everything's so instant.
It's like a trial by Twitter.
Yeah. And it's not just the speed, it's the intensity.
Everyone has an opinion.
And everyone feels like they need to share it.
Yeah, it's like a 204 to 7 news cycle, but for gossip.
And it makes you wonder, is fame even worth it anymore?
That's a good question. With all the scrutiny and the cancel culture.
It's a lot to deal with.
And, Wallace's story also highlights this shift we're seeing.
Oh, you mean like holding people in power accountable?
Exactly. These allegations against him, they're part of a bigger conversation.
About power dynamics, about abuse.
Yeah, and for a long time, people in positions of power, they got away with a lot.
Because no one wanted to speak out.
Right, but now, with movements like #MeToo,
It's like a dam has broken.
more and more people are coming forward.
And it's forcing us to confront these uncomfortable truths.
And hopefully it's leading to real change.
I hope so too. It's about time, really.
Yeah, and these conversations, they're not always easy.
No, they can be challenging, they can make people uncomfortable,
But we have to have them.
because it's about creating a better, safer world.
For everyone.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Gregg Wallace,
Yeah, what are we left with?
I think we're left with a lot of questions, honestly,
Oh, fame, about accountability.
about how we as a society deal with these complex issues.
And I think it reminds us that no one is perfect.
Even our idols, our heroes,
They're all human, and humans make mistakes.
sometimes big ones,
But it's also a reminder that we all have a responsibility.
to create a world where everyone feels safe and respected.
A world where power isn't abused.
And I think that's something worth striving for, don't you?
Absolutely. And, even though this deep dive has been, well, a bit heavy at times,
Yeah, not exactly lighthearted.
it's been important.
Yeah, it's made us think. It's challenged us
And hopefully it's encouraged our listeners to do the same.
to keep asking questions, to keep pushing for a better world.
Because ultimately, that's what matters.
It is. So thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And until next time, Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.